Hello, everybody. This is NIKOS here. Maria this week just moved and her house is a little bit in disarray, so we're gonna give her the week off. And in doing so, you guys have just me to talk about all your favorite things. So we got DanDaDan, we got Dragon Ball Daima, we got Rainma. We also watched Creature Commandos. And I got a couple of other trailer news I'm gonna talk about later on the show. I just want to say first off, thank you guys for subscribing. And if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. We do this show weekly where we talk about all of DanDaDan, talk about Dragon Ball Daima. I just listed off what we usually talk about, but we're adding on different things every week. So if that interests you, please consider subscribing. Yeah, so we also answer everybody's comments too. So we like listening to what everybody talks about. We like seeing what you guys write. And yeah, this will be my first solo podcast. So we'll see how it goes. There are like radio shows that do it solo, but usually they have a producer that they can like look at and talk to. For me, it's just you and me. So we're gonna try and get through this. We're gonna try and go through each show like we do each week. Well, we as in me and you. I'm gonna say we a lot, so just roll with it. Just roll with it. I could say I, but I feel like that's too isolationist. I feel very isolationist between it just being me. Whatever. I'm just gonna go. As you can tell, I could just talk to myself. So makes sense. So I'm gonna go over DanDaDan first. This week's DanDaDan episode was the follow-up to episode nine's controversial, non-controversial episode. DanDaDan episode 10, Merge. Have you seen a cattle mutilation? This is this week's episode review reaction. Yeah, so last week's episode, was it controversial? Yes, no. I mean, according to your guys' comments, it really isn't that controversial, but like it could be a little much. That's the kind of feel that I got from it. A lot of people are just saying, no, screw you, you're wrong. like, like just get over it. This is the art. It is what it is. Listen, I think that because there are so many different cultures or so many different points of view out there that when you watch something like that, I don't necessarily think it cause for controversy, but I think it's worth talking about. And I think that's what the whole thing was. Like there was a bunch of different channels all who cover anime were calling it controversial. And I mean, like if you were to just say, yeah, a bunch of teens got naked and they were on the floor and it looked like they were having sex, just in its own sentence, I think people would be like, what? What are you watching? Now, in anime context, I guess that's not that strange. But in saying that, like, it is something that was worth talking about. And like I mentioned, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you should go to our video of last week's reaction. Go through the comments. There's a bunch of people who commented. We even had somebody from Japan. Maybe Japan. I don't know. They wrote out a whole basically a story about in Japanese, and I translated it, and they were saying that you got to kind of separate what you like the art from the artists or that sort of thing, like what they're trying to tell versus like how us applying our social norms in America onto their piece of art. And like I get that, that's definitely something that I think that we did talk about last week's review. So go check out those comments. They're really informative. Nobody was rude or anything, so I thought that was pretty good. I liked the fact that we were able to have a conversation about the whole thing. So let's go into this next episode, episode 10. And I mean, like I said, it follows up one of the most controversial episodes that we had in the series so far. And I kind of think that what's funny is immediately following that whole thing, the principal has like a BDSM whip and is like using it on the janitor or the teacher or whatever that bald guy was. And it's just like, all right, we're gonna continue with the weirdness. Here we are. We're not afraid of what we are. And move on or keep watching. I think people are gonna keep watching. the whole little freak out that the kids have while talking about their public perception after being like naked in front of the whole school is amazing. I thought this whole conversation between Momo, Ira, and Okarun was just it was hilarious. Then you lead into Okarun doing the whole Pepe Sylvia thing where he's like pointing at the board and showing and explaining to them why the yokai are fighting off the aliens. I thought that was so cool and like it's such a interesting theory to like sort of ground what is happening and why the aliens really just aren't stealing yokai power. So that's kind of like a fun background world building thing that they have. And I mean, I'm sure a lot of this is based off of, I mean, I know yokai are, I know a lot of the alien stuff is, but I'm sure maybe somewhere out there's myths that, you know, yokai are actually fighting aliens off. And that's all something cool that you don't really see in anime where, I mean, you do see yokai, you do see aliens. I don't think there's a story, at least what I've seen, that they're combining the two in such a fashion that DanDaDan can do, like what they're doing. I managed to shove in do in 4 different ways there, so you're welcome. Moving on, we do got Ira blaming Momo for the entire situation so that way she could explain away to all of her friends like, hey, she did this to me. It wasn't me being weird, it was them being weird. So that kind of continues the trend of her being sort of a yes girl, you know, just somebody that is, I don't know, I mean, like, she just kind of does whatever the populist, like whatever the popular thing is, and she just wants to maintain that level of popularity, which is very shallow of her. And you know, the fact that Momo not only saved her life, but also is like, I mean, I'm not gonna say they're cool with each other, but you know, she's trying at least to be like, hey, cordial with her, but instead, you know, Ira is continuing to be just same old selfish Ira. But that'll change in a little bit as we find out. Momo and her friends show up and they start doing this whole detective routine. I'm sure there was something from like Detective Conan in that sort of breakdown of the story that they were going to tell everybody. And like, hey, wouldn't you know it, right after this whole thing, Ira tells all the people, hey, I was the one who was spreading all the rumors. Stop saying everything bad about Momo. So Ira has a heart. Hashtag Ira has a heart. That's what we're going with. And we see Momo and her kind of have a moment out in the back courtyard, which is interrupted by Mr. Mantis Shrimp. And we get to see his sad backstory. I thought that was so funny. His like sad music that he had going for him. And I thought that was like, it was such cliche music. And he's just crying. He's just a guy. He's just a silly old guy trying to, I don't know, save his kid, and he's just trying to get some medicine. I love that the gang brought him home and started caring for him, and it's like, man, these kids are they could be so caring and also just, I don't know if not vulnerable. What word am I looking for when you're just kind of doing whatever and you don't really have any like reference for anything that could happen. Like they're just caring kids, and they're like, all right, we'll take care of this guy, even though he tried beating us up and punched us in the face a couple times. He seems like he's not that bad. He's a bad guy, but he's not a bad guy. So we find out that the mantis's the mantis's like whole reasoning that he came to Earth and why he was hired by these aliens was because his son has some debilitating disease. And I have a quote here in my notes that says, whenever he poops or pees, he loses all his blood. I want that on a pillow. I want that to be written. I want that to be on like some one of those words that you see on like 40-year-old women's like walls. I want that to be on that one of those. Whenever he poops or pees, he loses all his blood. God, what a beautiful saying from the show. Um, Ogrun immediately offers up his peen to help the guy, and Momo's like, "Bro, we can help him some way else. We don't need to give him your penis. We just got it back." So, kind of funny that she is immediately like, "Dude, not giving up that peen." Um, I also really love Mr. Mantis shrimp little polka dot, purple pink polka dot PJs that he has on. He's just crying. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna save my family." And wouldn't you know it, Granny always has some sort of idea up her sleeve, and she gives the guy milk, and is like, "Here, drink this." And he drinks it, and he's like, "Wow, this is energizing. This is exactly what I need. This is my blood." And milk is the answer. Apparently, milk is in their blood, so they abduct a cow and they send it on with the guy, with the little mantis shrimp guy, and now he's gonna go home and save his kid. So, and he also told the gang, "Hey, I'll give you guys a any favor you need in the future. So if you need any help, give me a ring." Don't know how they share numbers intergalactically, but we'll just assume that they'll send up a signal flare and he'll be back. So this was a nice little episode. I liked it. Like nothing super crazy, nothing super controversial happened. I thought the spaceship was really cool. I liked. Oh, you thought I wasn't gonna mention Gigi showing up? Yeah, Gigi's here. The love square is now complete. We have Ira likes Okarun likes Momo, and maybe Gigi likes Momo, and maybe Ira and Gigi will have something going on. I don't know, but the love square is officially here. We are gonna see how much more dysfunctional this little dysfunctional family can get. I thought there were some other little cool moments in this episode. You had Okarun and Momo, like that little moment they had when they were still back in the classroom. I thought that was a really cute moment between the two of them. Okarun saying he wanted to look cool for Momo for working out, and that was just such a cute little moment. And I thought that, God damn it, do I love these two? And them just looking at each other, and the little hairs falling down Momo's like eyes, and Okarun noticing it. It's just chef's kiss on this little romance story that they also have going on. Anytime they're at the high school, I always have to point out this is peak like high school romance bullshit. Like it is so good. I'm just enthralled by watching it. I think it's top tier writing. I just enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot, and it gives it a different dynamic from just them turning into demons and like beating up bad guys. And it's also cool that you get to see the bad guy from the last episode just be a normal dude who's trying to get some medicine for her son. So, hey, you get a little bit of everything in DanDaDan. So what do you guys think? Do you guys like this episode? Did you hate this episode? Let us know in the comments below. Like I said, we always answer each comment. So if you really like this, please leave a like, please subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode. All right, so for this next part, we're going to talk about Dragon Ball Daima. We, as in me and you, are going to talk about Dragon Ball Daima. This is Dragon Ball Daima's episode 9, titled Thieves, which was very, very well named because lots of thievery happening in this episode. We got Pansy wanting to stay at a hotel after Goku defeats the Tamagami, and she gets her way, and that was very Bulma-like for me. I was like, all right, we already knew that she was basically Bulma with her tech wizardry. Her dad is the king of the world, or Demon World 3, and you compare it to like Bulma, whose dad was Dr. Briefs, and assumingly the most important scientist, inventor, man. I'm sure we got an explanation sometime that what Dr. Briefs is. I mean, we know he's smart because he built Goku's he built the spaceship to go to Namek, so he's obviously smart. They made money. They're rich. They're very rich. Oh, he made the capsules. What am I talking about? What am I talking about? The man made capsules. Of course, he's not one. I'm in a capsule corp. Duh. We got there. We got there. We got there. um, so while the gang is going to a hotel, they have to stay discreet, and they don't want anybody being like, "Hey, you round here, don't come into our place." So they put Goku in this little cute pink hat, and Goku's head was itching. He's like a dog in like a cone. You know, they can't stop itching themselves, so he just itches himself, and he's like, "I'm taking off this hat," which leads to two people noticing that it's Goku, the one who took out the Tamagami, and they hatch a plan to steal the Dragon Ball back. Not back. They decided to make a plan to steal the Dragon Ball, which is pretty good throwback to OG Dragon Ball with the Pilaf gang trying to steal the Dragon Balls way back when. I'm pretty sure like Yamcha tried stealing it at one point. I mean, if you look back at the Frieza saga, I mean, there was a bunch of stealing of the Dragon Balls. Gohan stole it from Vegeta, and then Vegeta stole them from Frieza. There's a bunch of shenanigans in terms of who was stealing the Dragon Balls on Namek. So that's a whole other thing. We cut them back to the gang who's inside their hotel room, and Pansy comes out after taking a shower and is like, "Goku, you smell. Please go take a shower. Please go change some clothes." And Goku's like, "Dude, I don't shower. Dude, I have no clothes. Like, who do you think I am? A human?" And, for all intents and purposes, I gotta ask, does he really not shower? Does he really only have one change of clothes? I mean, okay, he has to have more than one pair of clothes, right? Is his closet just entirely geese? He just has the identical sets. Like, does Chi-Chi just not care about his smell? She must bathe him. She must have to tie him down to the bathtub to get him in there. I don't know. Lots of questions there. I don't think they have running water, so they must shower in the river. I don't know. I don't know how Son Goku lives. I don't know. Just questions to ask, questions to know. We also get lots of food here in this thing, and if you don't know, we do a lot of food breakdowns in terms of what they do in Dragon Ball Daima. And this episode had a bunch of food. They had some demon crab rice ball things where it was like a demon crab leg and there was a rice ball on top of it. They had that. They had some soup. Don't know what kind of soup that was, but it had some beans in it. They had demon tacos / burritos. Not 100% sure. But they also had chips and salsa. So a nice little demon Mexican meal. That's nice. Oh, Glorio also had himself a beer. So they were kicking it back in this this Mexican meal hotel. I don't know. That's the food that they had. I'm just happy to have more food selections to be seen in Dragon Ball Daima. That's an underrated part about this show. They always have different foods for the most part. There was an episode or two there where there were just balls with mouths, or burnt balls, or brown balls. The show's called Dragon Ball, so I guess I should just get with it. So while they're eating, they hear some craziness going outside. They hear a ruckus going on, and we see the guy who saw them earlier turn into a wolf. Well, we don't see him turn into a wolf yet, but he does turn into a wolf, and he distracts Goku and the gang. And while they're distracted, the bird chicken man breaks through the window and steals the Dragon Ball. So a pretty effective way of stealing. I give him that, the little bait and switch. Hey, you think it's here? No, it's over here. They do their little thing, and Goku's like, "Man, I can't believe we fell for that." What's kind of cool about this wolf man is that it's a reference to Toriyama making the Saiyan transformation into the giant apes from a mount. So what's kind of cool about this is that this is a reference to Toriyama making the Saiyan transformations into giant apes. So like so this is kind of cool because the werewolf was actually something that Toriyama looked at and was like, hey, I'm gonna make the Saiyans do the same thing, except when they look up at the moon, they're gonna turn into a giant wolf. So kind of fun. We get to see the wolf guy turn into back to a regular demon. So he's a werewolf, assumably. He doesn't need to look at a moon though, so he just it's nighttime, so maybe he did. I don't know for sure. I don't know what the whole background of this wolf is, but it's a cool reference to Toriyama, doing that thing for the monkey. And I think that it's something that he continuously does throughout Dragon Ball. Like Dragon Ball has Wolfman, and then Super has the trio. I don't know. They're French. Trio du Longe. I think that's their name. I could be. I'm completely messing up that name. But those three Wolf brothers, they were in it too. So the guy actually kind of looked like one of them. Maybe they're related. Maybe those guys are demons. I don't know. Either way, but we get to see a werewolf reference, and that is fun. Goku and these two guys play keep away. I have in my notes here that these two guys are Monkey in the Middle champs 5 years running, but I never played against an actual monkey. Goku, I don't know if Goku was just messing around, but he lets them kind of mess around with him a little bit, and then he gets the ball and is like, I'm going to beat you up. But then Glorio steps in, uses his lightning whip, and takes care of the bad guys. Does he kill them? Maybe. Definitely maybe. We don't know. They just kind of get sent off somewhere. So I assume one of them could, well, yeah, actually, one of them could fly. So maybe he helps his friend, or the other one just splats on the ground. Who knows? We don't know. We go back to the hotel room, and Goku says he's going to stay up and watch the Dragon Ball. He does not. He falls asleep almost immediately after, which is pretty hilarious. They wake up and they go outside, and I was so prepared for them to not have any ship left. And I thought the ship was going to be stolen or destroyed or something was going to happen to it, and nothing happened. So I was like, wow, what a change of pace. And then they cut immediately to Vegeta and his gang, and their ship got stolen. So, just couldn't escape a ship being stolen one time in this show. Hybis was unfazed and not surprised because he calls out Vegeta for beating up people in the club. And I will point out here, I did not have Bulma, I did not have Vegeta beating up people at a club while getting drinks for Bulma, something that I thought I would ever see in Dragon Ball, but here we are. We also get to see Hybis talk about wanting to play the zombie game, where if you get bitten by a zombie and turn into a zombie, you lose. I could only assume he's played this multiple times because there's apparently a lot of zombies. I don't know. Hybis is just so funny. Hybis is just, nobody wants to match Hybis's freak. He just wants to play zombies. And also, Hybis just happens to have the third eye that Goma is looking for, which is like, what? Like, why do you have this? I'm sure that will come up later on, because we actually cut straight to Goma talking about the third eye and crashing out because he's like, how could Goku get this Dragon Ball? What are we doing? Are we just imbeciles? Maybe if I had the third eye, I would be able to do something about this. And, Hybis has it. So, womp womp. Goku and his little gang show up to Vegeta. And basically, Goku's like, hey, how's it going, guys? All right, we're leaving. We're going to go get the other Dragon Balls. Hey, Vegeta, if you want to go beat up Goma, you could do it. I don't care. And Vegeta's like, you're not really going to leave us here, right? He's like, yep, sure, certainly am. We'll see you later. We'll see you later, punk. Just leaves. Vegeta calls him a fucking little rat. Like, what a crazy time. Vegeta's also crashing out. And he just decides to unleash all of his energy on the crackheads who show up, who were from the bar from the other night when he beat them up. And they decided to bring their whole gang. And Vegeta's fight was pretty cool. It was well coordinated. It was well choreographed. And I think if you compare it to like Goku's fight, it was way more refined. It was way more elegant, I would say, compared to Goku's, which is like kind of funny if you think about it. Because, Vegeta starts off as this very rough, and he just uses his power to overpower people. But he also has like elegance because he's the prince, and Goku is someone who uses technique, but he is very powerful in his own right and just beats up people. So it's kind of cool to see the differences between their fighting styles, and I think that was well laid out with what they did. We also get a BoJack Horseman cameo. I'm gonna leave that one in there. BoJack Horseman cameo. Hybis only got 2 chips in. He only got to eat 2 chips. He's very upset about that. I am upset for him. He wanted to eat his potato chips, and Hybis should be allowed to eat as many potato chips as he wants. We then cut over to Marba as they are continuing to make the new Majin. We see Marba use a Cyberman seed inside of their little dip to make Majin Ku. And kind of cool. Kind of call back to the Saiyan saga when Nappa pulled out his little sack of Cybermen that he plants, and then they turn into little green demon things that shoot white stuff out of their heads. Period. And we now get to see Majin Ku. Majin Ku is the new bad guy, the new Majin Buu villain in this Dragon Ball Daima. Not gonna lie, don't really like his design. Not a big fan of his design. It's pretty lame. I thought it would be a lot cooler. Not gonna lie. I thought that it would be something way more interesting. I mean, you look at Cell, Perfect Cell, look at all the Cell forms, you look at all the different Buu forms, you look at Frieza. I know I'm missing some other villains, but you look at those guys and you compare it to this guy. He's just basically a green Cyberman Buu because he has the same pants as Super Buu, so it's the same thing. Listen, I get it. It's the same way that they made Majin Buu, so how much different could he be? I would assume not just a Cyberman and a Buu put together. That's just my assumption, but they decided to go with that design. Let me know what you guys think of the design in the comments below. Dr. Rinsu decides to send Majin Ku to go defeat a Tamagami. And that's kind of where the episode ends. We get to see what his power level is compared to Goku's, and if he can't defeat a Tamagami, then just how powerful is he? Because there's no way he could defeat Goku if he can't defeat a Tamagami. But that's episode 9, Dragon Ball Daima. You guys let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you like the design? Did you like what they did in this episode? Did you like Vegeta's fight? How do you feel about Hybis having the third eye? Lots of questions moving forward. The show has gotten way better at leaving us story hints now, and I think the pacing has skyrocketed. And the fact that there's going to be only 24 episodes and we're now at episode 10, that leaves us 14 episodes to go. Math. We'll see where it goes from here. We'll see you in the next episode. So I think I'm just gonna end the episode here. Next week when Mireille comes back, we'll do a little bit more about some of the trailers that we missed this week. We were gonna also talk about the 100 most hottest men in anime. I was going to talk about Sakamoto Days, but I want to save that for her. Sakamoto Days trailer just came out, and that's something that's really fun. I saw a lot of the manga on that, and I read a little bit of the manga of it, and it's a really fun thing. So I'm excited to see where they go with it in Netflix. Invincible Season 3's official trailer dropped, and boy, am I excited to watch Invincible. We're going to be covering that here on the channel. Me and her have read... Well, I've read the whole thing. She's read about half of it. So, we kind of have a good idea of what they're going to be covering this season. So, look forward to that trailer kind of breakdown next week. I know it's a little shorter episode. It's just me. So, I wanted to give you guys at least Dragon Ball and DanDaDan breakdowns. Hopefully next week we'll be back. We'll be covering Creature Commandos. We'll be covering Rainma. We'll be back with 2 episodes of Rainma this week. So we'll do 2 Rainma episodes for you. We'll maybe do 3 episodes of Creature Commandos. And then we got the trailer news. And whatever else comes out this week, we'll follow that up next time. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe. Please comment. We'll see you guys next time. Farewell.